Why do you stand afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou in times of trouble? It's one of David's psalms that has to deal with trouble, grief, loss. It's interesting how a lot of these psalms hit very deep to a core of what everybody feels, male, female, whatever, wherever. The sense of loss, sense of grief, sense of trouble. He talks about the wicked and their pride persecute the poor. He talks a lot about how the wicked, especially, are going after the poor. And we see that systemic throughout all cultures. It doesn't matter where you've lived, where you are. The powerful are always lording it over the powerless. And God meant for the powerful to help the powerless. And this is just the opposite. And they get their power from the powerless. And the wicked, through the pride of their countenance, do not seek after God. God is not in their thoughts. That the wicked are only thinking about their own selves, their own bellies, their own desires, and they're using and coming after and oppressing. And this is one that talks about the evil of man. And where is the goodness of God inside the evil of man? But it's an idea of keep waiting. God does hate the work, the deeds of the wicked. For this man has said in his heart, God has forgotten. He has hidden his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Lord, lift up thine hand. Forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the evil does the wicked condemn God. The idea that these people, again, he's calling out to God because of the oppression on the poor. And Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their hearts. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and oppressed, that the man of the earth may no longer oppress. So this is about seeking God to take care of the problem of oppression. And that's something that is uniform. It's universal, that men are oppressing men, that women are oppressing women, that there's all this oppression going on. And where are we supposed to go to primarily? Supposed to run to the government, run to authorities. Well, that is the thing, but we need to run to God, who is the ultimate authority. The problem with the evil is that they don't fear God, and that God's not anywhere in their thoughts. And the psalmist is pushing us back, who might feel oppressed, that there is a God who's on your side. Ironically, when we're looking at 19 and 20, we're looking at Sodom and Gomorrah. Excuse me. Remember, yesterday we were talking about how that God went to Abram and talked with him and told him, he said, should I tell you what I'm going to do? And Abraham intercedes excuse me, for Sodom and Gomorrah, and talks them down from 45 righteous people all the way down to 10. He might have thought that was a fair lock. Maybe in Lot's household, he could have counted on 10 people being righteous. I don't know. That's an implication that he would stop by 10. So it says that these two angels, remember there were 3 that came to meet with Abram. Now there are 2. These 2 are now going in because of judgment is coming. Obviously, the third angel, which would have been God himself, saw what was going to happen, is sending in these angels. They're not there to do a recon. They're not there to make any analysis. They're there to bring out the righteous. And so they go in, and Lot sees them, and they're going to stay out in the street. And Lot's like, no, that's not safe. He brings them into their house. He takes care of them. But as the night progresses, the men of the city come around, banging on the doors, trying to get in, wanting these men to come out that they might have sex with them, that they might know them. And he goes, don't do this. He goes, I have 2 daughters. Why don't you take them and do what you want, but leave these men alone? And the men get angry about that. And they said, who made you a judge over us? We're going to take these men, and then what we'll do to them, we're going to do to you. So there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of aggression out here. And remember, and so we tend to see that we tend to use this one just against homosexuality, but there's a lot of also violence, wickedness, adultery. I mean, everything, the sins that God talks about later on in the book of Deuteronomy, in the books of Exodus, all run in packs. It's not like there's one specific sin here and one specific sin over there. You'll find them in pack motif. And so the angels smite the men. Nice King James word there. And they're all blind. They're feeling around. They can't do anything. And he takes the girls in one hand, girl in another, takes Lot in one hand, Lot's wife in the other. And the angels take them out, almost drag them out of the city. And they went out. And at first they wanted him to go up into the hills, but Lot won't go into the hills because he was afraid that the people in the hills would kill him. I'm not quite understanding exactly why. You've got angels on your side, but you're afraid of what would happen in the hills. But okay, he points to another small city called Beor and wants to stay there. And it's a little city. So the angels let him go into this. It's called Zoar, sorry, not Beor. It's Zoar. And they went into Zoar. And when the sun went down, there was a gigantic explosion of brimstone and fire from heaven to Sodom and Gomorrah, creating this gigantic cloud. This cloud was even seen by Abram. And it says Abraham got up early in the morning, and he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah and towards all the land of the plain, and behold, there was smoke of the country went up as a furnace. So all the smoke from the fire and brimstone that came down from heaven. And God judged that city. Now, the next part of this, we're talking about what Lot's daughters did. And again, this is one of the points to where something is history, not application. This isn't a command that you should do. The fact that Lot was with his daughters in the hillsides, and the daughters realized that their father, a godly man, was old, and he'd probably never have any children. They came up with the plan, good or bad, to have children by their dad. So the oldest one gets dad drunk, goes in with him. The next night, the younger one gets men drunk and goes in with him. And they wind up siring two nations, the nations of Moab and the nations of Ammon. Now, we also notice that Moab and Ammon are also treated very well by the Israelites. They are considered by God to be relatives of the Israelites. They call them brethren. So when they went through to wipe out all of the Canaanites, they were told to leave the Moabites and the Ammonites alone. This is in honor of Lot. And later on, even, we see that Ruth is a Moabitess. So something good comes out of that line. So we're not here to judge what the girls did or didn't do. I'll leave that for you. But this is just more of a factual recounting of what happened and where these nations came from. After that, Abram went down to the south, and he was in an area, and there was a king named Abimelech. And Abimelech saw Sarah, and Sarah and Abram had this idea. He had this plan that wherever we go, tell them you're my sister, because if you tell them they're my wife, they're going to kill me. So they had this plan, and it wasn't really a lie. She was half-sister. She was from one mom, and he was from another mother. They had the same father. Once again, 21st century morals versus what happened 3,000 years ago. We're just going to say things as they are and let the Bible sit where it is with its history. I like it when God came to Abimelech and said, "Behold, thou art a dead man, for the woman which I was taken, she is a man's wife." I like that. You're a dead man. And Abimelech says, will you slay a righteous nation? He goes, "I didn't know." I mean, he said she said he was his brother. She said he was his brother. She said he was his sister. And yet, and God also takes aside and said, "Yeah, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart. And I've also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore, don't touch her." So he gets there before anything happens to let Abimelech know. So Abimelech gets up early in the morning, and he's so afraid of this God. He brings Abraham in, and Abraham tells him that because I thought that there was no fear of God in this place, I told my wife to say, "You're my sister." Abimelech gives him sheep and manservants and gives him Sarah back untouched. What God had done is he'd closed up the wombs of all the women in the area because of what had done. And this got the king's attention, and the king knew that this was from God. At the end of the day, Abraham is a prophet. And number two, this also makes sure that the lineage of Isaac stays pure. There's no way that anyone can say, well, Isaac was actually the son of Abimelech or some of one of these other kings that Abraham walked around and had dealings with. No, Isaac would be the son of Abraham. No bones about it. So God was doing two things here. Number one, standing up for the sanctity of a marriage between a man and a woman, but also looking out for the sanctity of the birth of Isaac and the lineage and the promise of God through Abraham. So